Section 4. Building complex web applications with Vue.js. Routing with the Vue router library. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to set up a router, how to set up the corresponding pages for the router, and how to make use of route parameters. So you, for example, can go to post/1 and you see the post with ID 1 and post/2, which will show the post with the ID 2. So what we're going to have a look at is how to set up switching between different components, which are your different pages or views. And if you pay attention to the address bar, when we click through these, it says /post/1. If we go back, it says /post/2. So let's jump into the code and see how we did that. In the main.js file, you will notice that we import the router from router. And then when we instantiate our Vue instance, we have a router defined. So this is the equivalent of writing router. All right, let's see what our router file consists of. So the Vue router is something you can pick when you set up your app with the Vue CLI. You can also install it manually. So we import the router and then we say Vue use router. Then we export the router and we set the mode to history and we define our routes. So we say the first page that the user likely will enter. So our home page when there is nothing else in the address bar but your URL, or in our case, it's the localhost. And we say, oh, this is our home route, and it will render our home component, which we also included in the top. For the about page, we give the about name. And quite handily, when you generate a project with the Vue CLI, there is route level code splitting built in. That means that unless a user actually clicks on a link that leads to /about, the code necessary to render that page will not be loaded. This means that your initial load time will be faster and users will not load unnecessary code that they will not need. Then we have set up a path for the posts. So let's pretend we have a couple of blog posts about Vue. So we define a path that goes to /post/:ID. So the colon is an important part of this route definition because it's a placeholder. You can think of it as a variable. As you saw when we were in the browser, this was 1, 2, and 3. So this is how we set that up here. In order to link to our different pages, we use the router link component. So this comes with the Vue router, and the way it works is you use the element and you set to wherever you want the user to go. For example, to about is defined in our router and it goes to this path and it will load this component. The home page lists our different blog posts, so to say. So we have a v-for that renders all the posts in posts. And in here, we also have a router link with the to post plus post ID. So in our posts object, which we can find in our data file, we have this ID defined. So we filter and quickly going back to the browser, we can see, oh, we click on it. It finds the post with the right ID. Okay, now inside our post component, we display the data from the post, we display the title, we display the image, the photographer who took the picture, and the description. And if there is a link, we display the link with a read more link text. All right, we also import our posts data. When you write an actual blog application, you would probably call an API to say, hey, is there actually a post with this ID? If so, please transmit it to me, server, so I can display it. On the created method, I have written a quick filter function, which compares the IDs that we are passed through the router. And if we find one that has the correct ID, we return that one. So the most important line in this file is the $route.params.id. So going back to the router file, we have a :ID, and in your local components, that is translated to the .id on the route params. So for example, if we call this something else, like post_ID, this one will also be available at post_ID. Right. Let's go back to the page and see if it still works. And to the Vuex article. And we can click on the Vue community post. All right, I quickly want to show another feature of the router. So by default, the router works in the history mode. Now, there's also a mode called hash. Especially older browsers don't support the history mode because that is an HTML5 feature. So if you're optimizing your page for Internet Explorer 9 and below, you should use the hash option, and that will change how your URL looks in the browser. Basically, to every route, the hash and the slash will be prepended. So if you're going to the first post, it will be /hash/post/1. And also to the home and about page, the hash will be prepended. So this is the compatibility mode. So in this video, we've had a look at how to create simple named routes and how to use the data to actually determine what gets displayed based on the route pair.